We need to put some Holdo Maneuvers.
This is where the fun begins.
How appropriate that the last one is Here's Where the Fun Begins, and it's the Revenge of the Sith's 20th anniversary, Mark. Sorry to start your podcast for you.
I mean, that's fine, because as people are followers of us, they may know that this was supposed to start about 50 minutes ago. But, you know, when things happen, they happen. But yeah, our warp drive, that would be your show, Kenny.
Yeah, that's more my bailiwick.
Hyper speed
there you
go. Was kind of delayed. But yeah, so we're here to be talking about the season 2 premiere of Andor. So welcome back, Kenny. You were with us for the last episode where we talked about season 1 of Skeleton Crew, maybe the series of Skeleton Crew.
I do believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Pleased as punch to be back. Oh boy, what a treat! What an absolute treat to be here.
Now we are going to focus on the first 3 episodes of Andor.
Sure.
But before we get into that, I wanted to ask you, because we didn't get a chance to discuss it on the show yet. Was there anything from Celebration this year, like any of the news that came out of there, was there anything that stood out to you as something that you're especially excited for?
No.
Oh man.
No. I mean, what is? It's just not for me. It's just not for me. I sorry, truly, I laugh because, like, I definitely don't want to contribute to the negativity because I sincerely want people to enjoy their things. I have, like, I cross my fingers and I hope that we have, like, the real steel Sean Levy for Star Wars Starfighter, because that's the best that Sean Levy has been. That, and, like, Free Guy was adequate. Like, that's a 3-star movie, but that's that's a gentleman 6 of a movie.
I mean, it's already got Ryan Gosling going for it, though. So
it's true, and that's more than likely it will have Ryan Gosling playing. I have a sneaky suspicion that it'll be doing, like, a version of, like, Nice Guys Ryan Gosling, which is good.
What if Drive mixed with Nice Guys mixed with Ken, but in space?
Excellent, wonderful, great, outstanding. Yes. I guess the Darth Maul TV show I'm a little excited about, although I don't think that Darth Maul should talk ultimately, but at the same time, like, I just want to look at Darth Maul all the time. And also, whenever I read the soundbite that season 2 of Ahsoka was going to be Admiral Akbar versus Thrawn, and I'm like, but what about Ahsoka? Like, the TV show is about Ahsoka. Like, that's...
Oh, wait, you weren't joking? I didn't see that part.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought Akbar was... Wait, no.
No.
Because this is before...
Yeah.
Episode... Okay.
Because Akbar dies in The Last Jedi.
Huh.
And so...
Oh, well, yeah.
In that, Filoni is going to be influenced by war films like Tora 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 and similar ilk. And I'm going... Okay.
But Loth kittens.
Loth kittens, yes.
They can't walk, they can only roll.
Okay. You turn me around. You turn me around on that.
So you're gonna have at least 3 of those in your house.
Right. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
So I'm not wildly excited about it, but what I am excited is that we got season 2 of Andor. And what I am excited about, hold on a second. It says new development, a new member of the family. Here we go. Hold on a second.
Is it Babu Frick?
It's not Babu Frick. I got this.
Oh, nice. Mine's packed away somewhere. That's a nice set, though. It's so nice that it's out of focus.
It's true for folks that don't know. That's the. I recently brought home at a greatly reduced price a completely unopened version of the Star Wars Skywalker Saga 4K.
Nice.
Very very happy to have her in my home. She is well loved. She is well displayed. She is loved. It's great. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, for me, from Celebration, I think the thing that I was most excited for, which might seem out of left field and kind of random, was the Star Wars Visions Volume 3, what they're doing, and how it's kind of a different. So, like, the first 2 seasons, it was like an anthology, basically. Like, first season was all anime, all a bunch of different Japanese animation studios did their own takes on Star Wars tales, and then season 2 was animation studios from around the world, same thing, but just like Aardman was in there, Cartoon Saloon, and then season 3 is going to be it's going to be the whole entire season is going to be an elongating or a continuation of one of the stories on there. So I believe it was for the 9th Jedi story from season 1. But I'm excited about that because I like because some of those stories from the anthologies for those is like, not to put anything against any of the other ones, but some of them you're like, oh, I would like to see more.
Do it, Mark.
This
the
story. No, just
you know me. You rank everything. Everything needs to be ranked. Everything.
To paraphrase Gary Oldman in the film Leon the Professional.
Do you think Gary Oldman,
starring Natalie Portman
from Black Swan?
That's right. Ragnarok. Not Thor Ragnarok.
That's
Actually, the only one that she's not
Thor,
in.
Love and Thunder. Yeah.
I named the one Thor movie that she's not in.
That's true. Well, Mark.
Well, I mean, technically she was in it, but she wasn't in it. She was mentioned.
It's true.
So she was there. She was there.
We thought about her.
Yeah. Thor was thinking about her. Anyways.
Much like Homer Simpson and his nose with Poochie, every time that Natalie Portman wasn't on screen, we were thinking about where is Natalie Portman.
Yeah. Or like, where's Jane Foster?
Yeah. Does that reference play now? Does that reference play?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
And Natalie Portman, star of the upcoming Apple TV films, directed by Guy Ritchie, John Krasinski, with, trying to get the Fountain of Youth. That movie. But so should probably start talking about Andor, right? Since maybe I don't know.
So you're no, I like decompressing some Star Wars Celebration news. Star Wars Vision Season 3,
Sigourney Weaver,
Ninth Jedi. Filoni's not behind that. It's a completely different.
That's like team. That's the same. So it'll be the same animation studio that did the original short for it. We'll be doing all of those episodes of that. But yeah, like what you're saying, I'm excited for that Maul series, mostly just because I like Sam Witwer. He's a good dude. I'm not sure how much more of Maul story we need, just because like we already got a lot of him in Clone Wars, we got a lot of him in Rebels. He had a fantastic ending for him in Rebels.
Yeah. What else is there to say?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if that's just gonna be like a mini series, like that's like, because they've already done, like they did Tales of the Empire, Tales of the Jedi, and then what was Tales of the Underworld is the next one that's coming up, which is like bounty hunters.
Yeah.
So that show almost feels like a Tales of Dathomir or Tales of Maul.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all always for more Sam Witwer Sam Witwer in Star Wars just because he's a big Star Wars dude. I actually would have liked, if they were going to do that, to just finally canonize Starkiller from the Force Unleashed video games, and do that as an animated series. Because I know, like, now it's not canon, but like I liked in those games that the Rebel Alliance logo was basically like his family crest, and like the whole reason they end up using as the logo was kind of like as a way to like honor him for like what he does in those games. Like, spoilers, he becomes a good guy.
Now I'm never going to play Force Unleashed.
You know,
20-year-old game.
There's two different ways. Actually, you can do two different endings depending on who you kill in the last board.
Mark, so spoilers.
Yeah. I mean, who knows?
Come on, Mark.
Kind of like there was that Revenge of the Sith Xbox game that you could do that ending where you could win as Anakin, and then you saw Anakin then take out the Emperor and, you know, take over the galaxy.
Speaking of which, big question. Last year, did you go see Episode 1 in theaters?
Yes.
Are you going to go see Revenge of the Sith in theaters?
Talking to me in the past, yes, I went and saw it yesterday with my son.
Congratulations.
And we saw Episode 1 last year together, too. And then we were thinking about it. We were like, so when are they going to do Attack of the Clones? Because this year would be the 25th anniversary of Attack of the Clones. And 3 years ago would have been the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones.
They know.
So I was like, they're going to wait till the 30th anniversary of Attack of the Clones? Or they could have just done both movies this year.
Don't worry about it.
If they wanted to.
Don't worry about it.
I just need to see what the Matt Ferguson poster would look like.
You could have done all 9 of them last year, but no, Mark. You let me do that.
Yeah. How's your butt doing?
It's great.
Nice.
So good.
Nice.
So good.
That would be a good soundbite to come in on if people are just joining us.
My butt is so good, Mark.
Good to know. I was gonna make one joke, but I was gonna like, maybe not.
No, please.
That's like,
if you want Mark to make that joke, sound off in the comments below.
Well, the one person that's in the comments I know will want me to make that joke.
Well, so, great. Then go ahead and sound off in the comments below.
I was gonna say I wouldn't have pegged it for being good after 9 hours, what, 12 plus hours of sitting, 20 hours of sitting. I don't know.
24. It was an actual full day with some breaks in between.
There you go. Yeah. So good to know. Good to know. Anyways, Andor season 2. So the way they're doing this season is that each week we're getting a 3-episode arc, basically like a mini Andor film each week for the month of May, or April and May, because it goes into May. And each of these are going to be a year, or basically be a representative of a year. So this one is 1 year later after the events of season 1. And then next week we'll jump another year ahead, and so on and so forth. And then so like those last 3 episodes will be the same year as Rogue One. And from what I remember seeing that Tony Gilroy talking about with this season was that basically the finale will, like where we end with Cassian in the finale this year, will basically be just before where we meet him in Rogue One. So I think it'll be interesting. I thought it was actually nice because yesterday after seeing Revenge of the Sith with my son and then coming home and watching these 3 episodes, it kind of put me in the right headspace because because I remember Andor season 1, so it was nice to kind of go from basically the end of that story into like where Andor is roughly taking place, and then so once the season is done, we're gonna finally do our Rogue One episode for this too, just because I've been wanting to wait to do that until after Andor was over.
It's been a while since I've watched Rogue One.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, there are so many things that I absolutely adore about this show. I think one of the things that is tip top for me is that anyone can watch this show. Anyone can watch this show.
I agree. It's Star Wars, but it's not like Star Wars, if that makes sense.
Yes, it uses Star Wars as the icing. It is the sweetener. It is the gravy. It is whatever extra topping that you would like to use in order to make the metaphor apply to you.
Yeah.
Because the central viewpoint is so strong, and the messages and the characters, everything is so strong centrally. And then you are just getting to play within the Star Wars sandbox, and it is just so wonderful. And then you get wonderful treats like the beginning of season 2, episode 1, where Cassian Andor steals a TIE fighter, and you're like, yes, yes, great. So and then whenever you get to finally have your cake and eat it too, then it doesn't feel like you're getting member berries. Instead, you're just like, a treat.
Yeah. And I'll say one thing for Mike, since he wasn't able to join us tonight, was one of the because he was only able to watch like these first 10 minutes of this first episode, and he said that he appreciated that Cassian getting in and not immediately knowing exactly how to fly the TIE fighter. He was like, yes. Although, cut to, I think in the third episode, he's like, this wasn't the one that I trained. To fly. So he did, which is a nice way of also explaining that if he had gotten to one and knew how to fly it immediately, he trained to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all that being said, he did do pretty well for not knowing how to fly it.
Most definitely.
He kind of took to it pretty quickly and how to hotwire it at different points as well too.
Yeah, it helps to violate the Star Wars trope that every person that flies something is actually the greatest pilot that has ever been a pilot.
That's only supposed to be Anakin, like that he could, like, literally know how to fly anything.
That's so wizard, Mark.
That's right, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
As the great Din Djarin once said, or also the great Kidster also once said.
Is Kidster Din Djarin grown up?
Confirmed.
That's canon now.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
Timeline fits, right?
Timeline fits.
Maybe actually does it fit?
Show me. Show me
Din,
on the timeline where it doesn't fit, Mark.
I'm just gonna put this comment back to answer.
Thank you.
What you just said.
Appreciate that.
So people watching a video will get that joke, but nobody else.
Great.
But yeah, that could, because I remember Din gets picked up like by during the Clone Wars, or like he gets saved by a group of Mandalorians during, like, around the time of the Clone Wars.
Yes. I don't recall. It's been a long while since I've watched The Mandalorian. I just want to look for any way to make the Star Wars galaxy even smaller. And if we can make The Mandalorian Darth Vader's best friend.
I mean, why not?
Why
not? So we had, this first episode was called 1 year later.
Makes sense.
Oh, there you go. And so I'm gonna spot through really quick, like, the main, like, plot elements of that first episode, and then we can kind of break it down later a little bit more. So that first episode, Cassian's mission, like you said, posing as an Imperial pilot to steal the TIE Avenger. So call sign should have been like what? Iron Man, Captain America, the Hulk, Hawkeye, Black Widow. Just, for synergy.
Keep reading it. I'll come back with the right tagline.
All right. Or maybe to keep it with
the right call sign.
Diego Luna's buddy, who was in Werewolf by Night. There you go. Gonna have it be what was he, Jack? I was say Jack Shepherd, but that's lost. Remember the name was funny because it was like a dog. It was Jack Terrier. His name was Jack Terrier. I was like, oh, I get it because he's a werewolf, so his name's Jack Terrier.
Yes, great.
So there we go.
Thank
you. Ty Avenger Jack Terrier. There you go. With score by Michael Giacchino. Not for the show though, I don't think.
No. Not Nicholas Bertel. It's a new composer this season.
So far, I like it.
I know that because I listened to the soundtrack of Andor over and over and over and over and over again. So noticing the new composer, I was like, interesting. That's it. That's my commentary so far.
Nice. And then the next bit is Maya Pay Brigade. Cassian is ambushed, taken hostage by a divided guerrilla group. Now, really quick for here, when I was watching this, noticed that they didn't give a name to this planet when we see this one. But I had a pretty good presumption of what planet it was, based on kind of, I was like, oh, this has to be Dantooine, I would assume. And no. What was it?
It's Yavin 4, baby.
I know.
Unbelievable. You tricked me, Mark. You tricked me into giving away the secret location of the Rebel base.
You'd be the worst rebel ever.
Truly, just because I want to demonstrate my Star Wars knowledge.
Every time you get on Star Tours, you're the rebel.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, and then so we get the Ferrix refugees, Bix, Brasso, and Williman. So Wilman didn't get the the B name memo. So because I got Bix, Brasso, Wilman, and B2 Emo.
Unfortunate.
Like
truly, probably
Wilman,
the most tragic part of these 3 episodes.
Wilman, couldn't it be Billman, just to keep the B going?
Truly tragic. Tragic.
Yeah. Oh man, B2 Emo, my favorite droid. Did B2 Emo have a?
He's just there.
Did he have a stutter in the first season?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember that, and I was like, man, maybe B2 Emo. He's just so sad now that he developed a stutter with how much he misses Cassian and Marva.
Oh my gosh! All of his best friends are just leaving. No, because the Andor season 1 is freshly rewatched. Those details are fresh in my mind.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I mean, B2 Emo does have. It looks like he's got some droid friends now.
Yeah,
so that's nice. Looks like he was having fun hanging out with some of them.
Yeah.
But so it was cool to see that they're like hiding on the planet Mino Rao, working for a farmer. They're basically, we'll get into this a little bit later, but they're basically, illegal immigrants, and the Empire's ICE.
Yeah.
So, or more, I guess, another apt thing would be because the name Stormtroopers, also was getting heavy vibes of Inglourious Bastards, like the farm scene in that with Christoph Waltz.
It is. Please. No, I got to talk about this now. Stormtroopers, because the name is literally taken from the nomenclature for Nazi soldiers, right? Stormtroopers.
It's like a fascist empire that's trying to, commit mass genocide.
Yeah. And so, as we've talked on my podcast, TrekWarsPod.com.
What's that?
It's a podcast where we talk about trying to answer the ultimate question in fandom, which is better, Star Trek or Star Wars, by going through both franchises in chronological release order to try and answer the most important question in fandom, which is better. But anyways, we talk about kind of the etymologies of all of these things and why George Lucas is making all these decisions, and too long did not read answer of all of these things is just aesthetics. George Lucas was making an aesthetics exercise first and foremost whenever he was making these things. And he just wanted to make a fun space adventure for kids. And then he backed his way into a story that he was a little bit more interested in the older that he got, and ultimately ended up telling a story where a man committed an oops all fascism. And then over the course of time, like what happens with symbols, we just experience a degradation of what the meaning of the symbols happens, and suddenly the figure of Darth Vader and Stormtroopers suddenly becomes cuddly and all of these things. And there, within the context of Andor, there is more emotional import that is placed within it. And that is, I think that is important with the story that it is telling. I don't think that is necessary for all Star Wars. I just think that it is for the way that it just continues to blow me away that this project exists the way that it does, because Andor should not exist the way that it does, as idiosyncratic as it is, with the iconography that it is playing with, and considering how, I don't know, Andor just feels different compared to the rest of what Star Wars is. It's wild. Does that make sense? Am I crazy?
Yes, it makes sense. No, you're not crazy.
Yes. Stormtroopers, and Empire are menacing, except for Dedramiro. At least in these 3 episodes.
True. Well, and then I've also, like, we'll get to it for that episode specifically, because there's some other stuff that happens on Minarao that usually happens with fascist regimes, you know, like that whole kind of stuff that, you know. So the Ferrix refugees, we also the stuff in their Vix is like really dealing with like, you know, her PTSD of like going through all the trauma in season 1, like, you know, she's basically having a panic attack, but like in her sleep. It's like almost like a night terror panic attack.
There are consequences.
And then there's also like with this, we then go to Chandrila with Mon Mothma, and she's navigating her daughter's arranged marriage from the first season, and take Holma's financial blackmail. So her buddy, quote unquote, is kind of starting to feel a little too familiar, I guess, in a way. And he's like, you know, the doing this stuff has soured a lot of my investments, but I'm doing really well with the Empire, actually. So if you could maybe help me with that. So, yeah. I was like, oh, cool, this guy sucks now. But, yeah, and then, like, it just seems like Mon Mothma's, like, really going through it in this like, whole thing, too, because, like, she basically sort of pushed her daughter into this arrangement to, like, help, basically, with, like, the political navigations that she's trying to do, as well as with, like, the money
sort of
movement.
Sort of, right? It's complicated because it's also, to steal a phrase from the first season, everyone has their own rebellion.
Yeah.
And her daughter, it's so brilliant to make her daughter just like her form of rebellion. It's essentially just being a conservative, right? Well, her Mon Mothma is basically being advocating for liberal policies, attempting to just stave off whatever they can from the encroaching fascism that has overtaken everything. Her daughter is like, I'm gonna go be a child bride. I'm already investigating these trends independently, and Mon Mothma exploiting that
Yeah.
and not wanting to, but her daughter being a willing participant. Like,
Also, parent still sucks.
yeah. Yes. Parent sucks. Yes.
I'm like, how is this dude gonna die? Which episode is he gonna die?
He's going to get promoted to Chief Chancellor.
Or does like, because or does like Mon just like leave him?
I imagine that he would leave her.
Yeah, well, because that's like what I'm starting to wonder for this season 2, because we know like where some of these people end up,
Mm-hmm.
and the only people in the show that really have, as far as like armor, as far as not having any risk of dying through the season, Cassian, because he's got to wait to, spoilers, die at the end of Rogue One.
What?
Sorry. K2SO, because again, spoilers.
What?
When he shows up, he doesn't die until the end of Rogue One as well. Krennic also doesn't die until the end of Rogue One.
What?
Mon Mothma, we know, makes it to like the Mando era because she's in Ahsoka.
She's in the Ahsoka Shoka.
Yeah, she's a Chancellor Mon Mothma in that. So we know she makes it all the way to post Return of the Jedi. So we know she's good.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully she's also in season 2 of Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's it.
And Jar Jar Binks.
Well, yeah, obviously. And then everyone else on the show, I'm assuming, can die.
Yeah, truly.
Which, that's going to be... Like, if we thought the end of Rogue One was sad,
yeah,
imagine how sad we're going to be at the end of mid-May when the season ends. And all of these people that Cassian has been, building these relationships with for him over the course of 5 years, for us over the course of like these 3 years that the show's been on. And I mean, maybe some of them just go off, but I feel like Luthen is gonna have to have some like big kind of, like he's gonna have to have like another grand monologue, like he did in season 1,
mm-hmm.
but then like dies at the end of it.
Sure.
And like I feel like we're gonna lose more of the Ferrix refugees as well. Spoilers, we haven't got to yet, but by the end of this 3rd episode, again, spoilers. If you haven't watched all 3 episodes,
spoilers.
Brasso dies by the end of season 3, or not season 3, episode 3 here. Not Revenge of the Sith, episode 3 of season 2 of Andor.
Yes.
Which we'll come back around. But
we'll come back around.
Did you think that Cassian accidentally shot him with the TIE fighter when he was shooting?
Not at all. I thought that stormtrooper nailed them.
Okay, I couldn't tell if Cassian had accidentally hit him while trying to take out the stormtroopers that were going after him, and it was like a stray.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, we lost Brasso.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another Ferrix. I'm also assuming this is probably the last time we see B2 Emo too.
I think so. Yeah.
Which that's sad too.
It's yeah, truly devastating.
Especially because in this one of these episodes, B2 Emo is like he's like, I'm waiting. He's like, oh, I'm back. I'm waiting for Cassian.
Yeah.
It's like
he's always waiting for Cassian.
He's good, and unless Cassian comes back to that planet, that B2 is never going to see Cassian ever again.
No, and I think Tony Gilroy is smart enough to never have Cassian come back because he is not a he's Tony Gilroy, a sentimental writer. I think he is correctly sentimental.
Yeah, like appropriately in the correct, like using it sparingly and correct, like
Yes, he's
to
not.
make it. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
He is more, at least within the context of Andor and within the context of. Really, I can only say that his Bourne films and Michael Clayton, he is more interested in the systems that are allowing these characters to exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then speaking of Luthen, like we just did, Vel and Luthen, Vel seeks info on Cinta, and then Luthen feigns ignorance. So
I did not expect Cinta to be in this season.
Yeah.
Because Cinta is off doing Doctor Who.
It's a crossover.
That's a crossover.
It's Miss Belinda at the end.
That's right.
It's It's Disney Plus synergy.
It is Disney Plus synergy. You're absolutely right.
We just see Shudigatwa get out of the TARDIS on Monroe, and you're like, oh, cool. And he just goes to Cassian. He's like, come with me.
And everything's okay.
Yeah, so that's actually how the season's going to end. So we're going to get a post credit at the end of the last episode of season 2 of Andor. It cuts to where we see Jyn Erso and Cassian embracing each other on Skaro. And just before, like, we have that point of view shot that we think.
I think you mean Scarif. Scarif,
yeah.
Skaro is the dog's home planet.
That's true. It's been a day.
Very good.
It's a Scarif Beach Party, as Weird Al would like you to know.
Sure.
Lego Star Wars is great. People should watch that. Anyways, yeah. So the TARDIS shows up, and so we get that bright white light before, like, we assume that Jyn and Cassian get enveloped and blow up.
Mm-hmm.
What happens there actually is that Shudigatwa's doctor. He lands there.
Love it.
In the TARDIS.
Love it.
Freezes time.
Love it.
So for us,
love it.
When we're watching Rogue One,
mm-hmm.
we just assume they get blown up.
Yeah.
But
no,
they actually get pulled into the TARDIS right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he starts time again, it looks like from a certain point of view that they're dead. But actually, I guess because now seasons have started over again for Doctor Who. Season 3 of Doctor Who will actually be Andor season 3 as well, and it'll have Jyn and Cassian as companions to Shudigatwa's doctor.
That sounds.
And also Cinta is there, but we find out Cinta was Miss Belinda the entire time.
That sounds tasteful too.
Yeah.
To the current mood.
Yeah, I mean, and Patton Oswalt's character from Parks and Recreation would love that.
Yeah, naturally. Yeah. Yeah, naturally.
And then, they come to, like, the modern day America, because, in Doctor Who, they can't get to 2025 right now because something's happening there. So, I mean, who's to say what they might have to do there to make sure stuff, doesn't go the way of, like, it did in Andor with, like, a fascist regime taking over the government, and so this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause. There's not any real world comps for this at all, right? I mean,
don't worry about it.
There's no art imitating life
don't
here.
Don't worry about it.
It's not poetry. It doesn't rhyme.
No. Hopefully poetry will be outlawed soon.
It's like a haiku.
Less syllables means less learning that I have to do.
It's that kind of poetry. Maybe it's like a limerick. Who's to say? Maybe it's a sonnet. Who knows? And then actually it'll be called Doctor Who / Andor.
There once was a man named Cassian.
Dead Post Society.
There once was a man named Cassian who was hoping to stop a lot of fascism. He went to Scarif to try and fight tariffs, but ended up getting blown up.
And your 401k is fucked. The end.
That's a terrible
and,
one. I apologize. I'll do better next time. Anyways, what's
then
next on the plot sheet, Mark?
the Imperial plot in this episode has Krennic, hello, Mr. Mendelsohn, and Deidre planning a resource mining of Gorham, which I was like, shit. Like, they're like this whole thing too, and I like how in this, like they're talking about basically like strip mining this planet to the point of like a slow Death Star, more or less, of like basically they're gonna mine like shit out of this planet to the point of like it's gonna collapse in on itself.
Yeah.
Because of like how much they're, I think, mining it for the spiders. I think is what was like the like what the spiders are, or like the web. That
I forget. I forget exactly what it is. What I do know is that they're just mining it for the material so that they can make the Death Star.
Yeah.
Period. Because that's the Emperor's Energy Initiative.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
And so they're having to play politics so it doesn't look like they're doing a bad thing, which is wild. And that Dedramiro
the spin doctors in there
put in charge.
Before they released any other singles.
That's right. Because it's BBY4.
Yeah, they hadn't released Jimmy Olsen Blues yet.
The newsreel threw me for a loop, gotta say.
Oh, yeah.
And then the tone was
I loved the style of that, though.
I was like, man, this is broad. But then also, I guess, newsreels and stuff like that exist within Star Wars canon.
Yeah, like like the whole Imperial kind of propaganda, like the stuff kind of like Han sees in Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Like with like basically like join the Empire today, like enlist now.
Yeah, like this stuff exists. It just throws me, like any Star Wars fan that is complaining about anything that is Star Wars. The only reason that I don't like it is because it's new and I'm getting used to it because I have a certain concept of what Andor should be. And so I'm like, okay, I'm sitting with it. And now because we're just adding new layers of what fascism looks like, what all of these toxic systems look like. And now we've got the spin doctors here and how
little miss can't be wrong.
But in this case they can be wrong, which is, and they are.
There's just two princes.
They're so obnoxious.
That's all the Spin Doctor songs I know.
Yeah, I mean, I think you did good enough.
Yeah.
I think you did good enough.
Yeah.
And they're so obnoxious, and that's great. Orson Krennic is playing it broad, and that's wild. It's a broad scene.
Yeah. There's that one guy that kind of like almost seems like he's feigning being upset like at the moral implications of it, but like at the same time he's also like grabbing little cakes and treats that he's eating, while not seeming like he's like, I don't know, like he's like posturing that he's like taking like a moral, I have the moral high ground, but he's actually just kind of, he doesn't like, he seems like he's doing that for like, I don't know, not like he doesn't, it's not like sincere.
Yes, like you said, the moral high ground, because it's all words. It means,
but you have to say it like, I have the moral high ground.
I have the moral high ground.
Don't try it.
Don't try it. And it just adds a wonderful new wrinkle into the texture of these bad guys. It makes them even more obnoxious. What I really appreciated on the rewatch of season 1 is just how small it starts off and how big it ultimately gets in terms of the expansiveness of the Empire. And now we go on to this lateral move from the ISB, seemingly, to Orson Krennic.
Yeah.
And seemingly the Gorman Project.
The Gorman Project sounds like a band that you'd see like open like the Battle of the Bands. We are the Gorman Project. Actually, that needs to be a Star Wars influenced band now, I feel like.
Alan Parsons influenced projects.
There you go.
Yeah.
Seth Green not included.
Not included. No. Union Buster.
Well, I mean that actually would go back to Austin Powers too, because the laser in that he's like, we'll call it a Death Star. I give to the Alan Parsons Project. Yeah, see, and then Seth Green is already part of Star Wars anyways. So it all, see, these are correct references because they come back. It's like poetry.
It rhymes.
Yeah.
I wish I had my soundboard.
Unless it's a haiku. Yeah. Then it doesn't rhyme.
It doesn't rhyme. Unless you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to acknowledge that for George Lucas, all poetry does not rhyme.
No.
Yeah. Certain versions of poetry do.
Yes.
But not all.
You know, I think that's critical. Yes.
Yeah.
Poetry has a beauty to it.
You might say he was taking a poetic license with it. That'll be our dad joke for the episode, because I just realized we didn't do any of our intro or the dad joke for this episode. But
I'm surprised you noticed.
That's all right. That's the dad joke, everybody. So there you go. That's our dad joke.
That's our dad joke.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna go to episode 2 of the 3 episodes now that we're 46 minutes in.
The Attack of the Clones of these 3 episodes.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So episode 2 is called Sagrona Teema, which is a saying that's on the Chandrilian wedding. Like, it's like they're saying there's a lot of like these trying to like wow. Can't think of the correct word for this. Like customs, like traditions that like for like the Chandrilian marriages and whatnot. So that we're seeing like all these things, like where I have to climb to the top of this mountain and whatnot, and like during like the actual wedding that we'll see in the next episode, there's like, you know, like to join the circle and then like step into the circle. It's kind of interesting to see some of the stuff too, and kind of, you know, like flesh out like more of like different like stuff that we might not know about like Mon Mothma's, you know, it's kind of upbringing and whatnot. It's kind of interesting to find some of this stuff out.
Yeah, it's interesting world building.
Yeah,
I enjoy it. I enjoy it is fun to watch this show do future tech circa 1977. That's always delightful. And then not only that, but also do world building circa, like doing sci-fi world building circa 1977, because we have future dancing circa 1977, which is so, it's not, well, except for at the tail end of episode 3, which we're not there yet, but it's
very Sinners-esque.
Spoilers, I haven't gotten around to it. I'm getting to it Sunday night. I've been busy.
You didn't hear that.
Okay. But like future dancing, like Logan's Run.
Yeah. Like Bill and Ted.
Yes, like Bill and Ted.
Obviously. So Cassian's captivity, because he's still being kept on this jungle planet that we do not, because we definitely don't know where he is. Tensions peak among Mayape, and he escapes during the internal faction conflict there. So I was like, this is a nice little statement too. Is like, if people that were on the same side, you know, stopped fighting with each other, maybe could get some shit done. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Who's to say?
So then we also have a Mina Rao audit, where the Empire audits workers, aka the Empire, aka ICE, is looking for illegal immigrants on Minarao. And the Ferrex group plans to flee. They got some like fake papers there as well too, so that again, there's like all these real world comps that you could uh, do for this, and like you also have in here too during that. It kind of starts in this episode and it goes a little bit more in the third episode. They got this like creepy incel-esque imperial officer that's like being all kinds of creepy and just not the way you should act to anybody,
No.
really, whether of whatever sex they identify as or whatever. Just don't. If you're a person of any kinds of person, don't be like that person.
Yes. Reveling in his power.
Yeah.
Reveling in his power, delighting in his power, and delighting in the tension.
Yeah, and Bix was really not picking up what he was laying down. She was actively being like, nah, I'm good.
Yes.
And he was still like, are you though?
Mm-hmm.
Are you though?
Yes.
Are you though?
She's having to fight for her life in the dance, and he is just reveling in the dance.
Yeah.
No matter
he sucks.
the tortures that she is undergoing. And he's just delighting.
I would almost say what she goes through with this jackass is worse than like the trauma that she goes through in season 1 of all of like the like, because like I mean there's two very different specific kinds of trauma. Like she has like this like emotional auditory kind of trauma placed upon her, that she has to go through that like affects her mentally in that one. And then in this, between like this episode and then episode 3, we can kind of just talk because it kind of goes together with like the assault that like he kind of doesn't kind of do, but like the assault that he's actively trying to do to Bix in between this episode and that episode, where like I guess there's actually like a controversy about this episode too, because like they straight up say the word. I'm also gonna give a trigger warning too, just in case here too, but like because they actively say the word rape within the Star Wars universe, so I guess that bothered some people. But I was like, it's a fascist empire that's committing mass genocide. Of course, there are people within that are also trying to do this as well.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not a group of good people.
Yes. And here, this is something that I've been mulling over and paying attention, because I think more than likely it's less of a controversy and more like a couple people probably tweeted about it. Star Wars Theory tweeted that Darth Vader doesn't believe in sexual assault, and people are like, Star Wars Theory is stupid. Yes, of course Star Wars Theory is stupid. Why are you?
Yeah, that's a given.
Don't pay attention to that. Any breath that you give him is breath that I'm giving Star Wars Theory breath. But I'm not retweeting him. So really, who has the moral high ground? Me. I have the moral high ground. And I think the difference between, and here, because I am an expert in how this stuff is depicted, make no mistake, please, no, this is just my well-informed analysis, or maybe not a well-informed analysis, but this is just the thing that I have been mulling over the past several days. In the sense that there's one of two things. One, Tony Gilroy and the rest of the filmmakers are interested in examining the completeness of how evil, the completeness of evil, and assault,
and the spectrum of evil.
Correct. And assault is involved within that.
Yeah. It's not just like a big moon-sized death ray taking out planets. It's also it's the macro and the micro of there's that, but then there's also, and not to say that like him trying to assault her would be, you know, at a lesser than, it's like on, you know, it's like on a different, there's two different things that can still equally just as bad.
Context is important.
Yeah.
Context is important because also we know what this material is. Andor, the television show, Andor as itself, it exists within the greater franchise that is Star Wars. Yes, sure. And also, Andor is able to exist as its own creative entity quite successfully. And Andor season 1, Andor season 2, Rogue One. There you go. 1, 2, 3. I think that will probably be a complete story. Great, wonderful.
Yeah.
And so it's examining the story, and we don't even necessarily know at the end of this particular season and what the consequences of this are, what this will do to Bix, all of these things. I trust Tony Gilroy and the other filmmakers of this to examine this in a way that is less exploitative, less lascivious.
Yeah.
I think I'm using that word, versus as opposed to Game of Thrones or other other popular culture things who are like, haha, sexual assault because we're edgy.
Yeah. Where I like to, at least with here with like Bix actually was able to defend herself. She wasn't like to a degree, but and she wasn't just like a damsel like needing someone to save her. Like she was like actively kicking that guy's ass.
The framing is the framing is extremely important, and it would be interesting to go back and watch that as opposed to how other depictions of assault have happened, because there are far more exploitative versions of assault that have happened within prestige television, because Andor, I feel, fits within the mold of prestige TV. And so I think it is attempting to examine something, and it is not to say that there are necessarily rules that you must adhere to, but you know, it is not necessarily trying to apply to the exploitation.
That's true.
thing.
And not to be like a weird segue, but kind of to segue.
So excited to hear what your weird segue is.
So Deidre and Cyril. Cyril kind of gave off that very incel-esque vibe in season 1 too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So I was wondering what your vibe is with. They're now like seemingly like, even though like he seemed very like, I don't know, like stalkerish. So like it's like this is actually like an interesting kind of juxtaposition to segue from that, because like it feels very much to the degree that like Cyril could have gone the same route maybe as this other jackass Imperial dude does with Bix.
Mm-hmm.
But like seemingly almost like he could have done that, but like kind of like, I don't know, scooches down on that before getting to that degree with Deidre.
Cyril is lawful evil, although I don't think that he started off as lawful evil.
Yeah.
I think Cyril started off as neutral evil.
Yeah.
I think he started off as an opportunist. And then whenever he failed, he became lawful evil.
Yeah,
because he became wronged, and then whenever we catch up with them in a domestic situationship, and what I believe happened is that Detramiro was like, "You are offering me intimacy. I value this. You are giving me something that I desire. You are now within my plan."
Almost like it's, almost like they're each other's beards in a way, but not in like a way that I guess you could comp it to like the real world, but almost like not in a sexual orientation type of thing, but almost like a
No, while the metaphor might be crude, I understand what you're going for. It's their projections.
yeah,
Uh,
so, like their optics for like both of their fields, where like they both
Dedra Miro has a partner that makes her
yeah
warmer,
yeah
and Cyril Karn has a wife
uh
in the Imperial Intelligence Bureau.
yeah
That means that he is important, and he has a finger into. Well, whoops. He has a hand into. Whoops. He's connected to
yeah
the Empire.
yeah. And well, I mean, there too is that like when he's talking to it seems like a new trainee for like the position that he's in essentially like his office cubicle job that he has,
Mm-hmm.
where like his line is like there's room to grow here for those who dare. He's talking about like he was able to over the course of months like use like I don't know, like 10 minutes or so each day of like his shift to like find like the seemingly banal, and he makes it out like it's like this big thing like I found this cabal of people that were stealing office equipment or something
Yeah,
like that.
doesn't matter.
Like
He just desires importance
yeah
by whatever means necessary.
yeah and
Within this, that ultimately means nothing. He's completely anonymous,
yeah
aesthetically within this beautifully designed set.
yeah and
Uh,
then
yeah,
with this too, 'cause, well, I think I'm just gonna kind of keep like this pairings of like what happens between like these characters in 2 and 3 for this too, because like and then even like with him and Deidre with dinner with his mother, Edie, I think is
mm-hmm,
like how you pronounce it.
mm-hmm,
Where like Cyril's mom is, like being Cyril's mom, like we come to know her from the first season, and it's like insulting him, kind of like trying to assert dominance, like over him, like very much like she's being the alpha, he's being the beta. I mean, that's kind. To be honest, it's kind of like what his relationship is with Deidre, where like she is definitely the alpha like personality in that relationship, and he's
yes,
definitely the beta personality in that relationship. Which I saw a meme for this already where it's like this is gonna be the second joke like this in this episode. I have someone wrote on threads. I have mixed feelings about Deidre and Cyril getting together because he gave big stalker vibes in season 1, but I do love watching Deidre stand up to his mom, and you know that Deidre pegs Cyril.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
and this is the Deidre Miro Stan account. I support women's wrongs.
yes.
So that's what that. But yeah, so I mean,
And
even
also, I will say, while she definitely wears the pants
yeah,
in this relationship, she's not always in control. Case in point, in the final episode of season 1, he saved her life,
yeah, that's right.
and then also he helped deliver Cassian Andor,
That's
sort of,
true.
or did not deliver Cassian Andor, but delivered critical information that helped her in the hunt for Cassian Andor, which helped lead the hunt for Axis, who she hasn't
Yeah,
found yet, but
yeah.
the hunt is still on.
Or is it though? Because we didn't really talk about that yet. But like her and speaking of Game of Thrones, Qyburn, her buddy from Game of Thrones, there, also in the ISB, is she's basically has like a unilateral promotion slash demotion into the stuff with Krennic
Mhm.
doing that project, and then basically not doing her Access stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting. And like we were saying, like even though we don't really like Deidre, like we don't like Deidre as a person, like because of what she's like active, like Deidre and Cyril are part of the Empire, so like we don't like actively and like these people.
Yes.
But it's like a weird dichotomy of them still enjoying when she stands up for Cyril to his mom, and also being able to kind of feel seen in that shot where it's just Cyril like laying sad, like half laying sad on the bed.
Yes.
And and I was like, yep,
Yeah.
I felt like that, Cyril.
Yeah. And it's the brilliance of this show by daring to dimensionalize these people.
Yeah.
And telling them that they have lives because they're not evil 24/7, and it's now daring you as the intelligent audience member that you are, being like, will you forget that the evil exists?
And be like,
which is a challenge.
Is it like, wait, do I like this evil person?
Yeah.
And who knows what's gonna
Daedra.
Yeah, and who knows what's gonna happen to them over the next 4 years of the show that leading up to the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah.
Maybe something happens with Deidre and Cyril where flippy floppy become good, like high ranking members of the rebels because they flip. Because I don't know, or maybe not. Who knows? Maybe they're just wholly bad people.
I think they're fully bad people.
But yeah, I did also enjoy with when Cyril's mom is there for dinner, and because of how like OCD Cyril is, like he even fixes that, like the fork that Deidre sets down, and I was like, yep, I would do that too. And then like his mom's making all of that mess with like essentially space fondue, I guess is what it is. Do you too fondue?
Very 70s. I love it.
But she's just like, it's just like all there's that wide shot and you just like see it all over. They could
have chosen any space food.
Yeah.
No, they made the right choice. They did 70s. They did fondue.
Yeah. And that
good
just
choice.
Yeah. Like, oh.
So smart.
Like, that would bother me though too with like all of that. He's like, but you're okay.
Yeah.
But then yeah, also with we go back to the Chandrila situation we had with Mon Mothma and Kolma needing to be bribed. Luthen is investigating that. So we have all that going on. There's all the comms that are shut down there on that.
See, I didn't take it as Kolma needing another bride. Or yes, maybe needing a bride, but also he's just gotten divorced. He's gotten drunk. He's at this wedding.
Yeah.
He needs more. And so it's money.
He shouldn't, but he wants more.
He wants more. He definitely wants Mon Mothma, for sure.
And even Perrin can see that.
Yes. And the daughter can.
Yeah.
And Mon is attempting to not, and is really frustrated about this. And
we don't know no Chandrila customs too. Maybe they have an open marriage.
Sure. I just don't think that's the case.
Because if that was the case, would she still be with Perrin? Because that dude just seems like that seems like. Wait, was that an arranged marriage with?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Because I was gonna be like, yeah, I don't feel like Mon Mothma would have chose Perrin if she had a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons is that she's so stung probably because she recognizes so much of herself in her daughter.
Yeah.
Maybe, although I think that she was probably more reticent about the arranged marriage whenever she was married at that age versus her daughter, who seems more, let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah, where like Mon Mothma felt bad and like she was betraying her daughter by like okaying that arranged marriage because like she knew like how much she didn't want to do it.
Yes.
And then she was like, oh, she apparently is totally fine with this.
Yes.
And then like I noticed this earlier in the episode, but like her daughter has the two braids, and I was like, oh, that's very Padawan-esque.
Yeah.
And then what I thought was interesting is that when we get, like, we're jumping out a little bit, but like when we get to the wedding ceremony with her and her like betrothed groom there, where like, which was also kind of dark in a sense too, because he's like, I take this knife from you and Perrin's like, do with it what you wish. I was like, wait, is he gonna stab her?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I was like, what is happening? But then, yeah, like, and then he cuts off the braid. I was like, oh, this is like straight up very, very similar to like the Jedi braid being a thing that like when they go from being a Padawan, to a knight, that the braid gets cut off. I was like, oh, that's kind of like an interesting like parallel there to like Jedi and the Chandrillans.
It suddenly gives a little bit more nuances etymologically of the braid as opposed to just being a Jedi thing and more of a cultural thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Or like who did it first?
Yes.
Or is it like a thing where like different religions kind of have similar like backstories to them, but are also different? Like how each of them, like like Catholicism, Islamism, Judaism, all kind of have, and then even like Mormonism and stuff, like offshoots of some of these that are like have very similar kind of stories of like prophets and like quote unquote chosen ones.
Yeah.
Like Anakin.
Yeah.
You just think it's kind of like interesting. Like maybe that's like it could be. It's not it's not like in your face kind of a thing, but it's like a subtle thing where like maybe it's like, oh, there's these similarities between like these different kind of religions and customs and cultures within the Star Wars universe.
I really want an annotated version of Andor. That's what it boils down to. I want Tony Gilroy, and I want all of them.
Like,
I just want a features-rich version of all of these episodes of being like.
It'd be nice if season 1 on 4K had commentary at all.
Yeah,
I don't think any of it does.
No, it just has kind of an hour-long documentary that's fairly light.
Yeah, I think that was the one that was on Disney Gallery. Maybe.
Maybe.
Like the ones that they do for like Mando and Book of Boba and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so like kind of staying with Chandrilla stuff and Mon Mothma, there's with Lyta's wedding, the arranged marriage goes forward, and there's celebratory scenes there, and we get that scene with Mon Mothma and her daughter where she's like actually trying to like reach out to her and be like, my mom was drunk during my wedding and I never forgave her for that. And then she's like, you don't have to do this. You can go out there and we can say that we're not doing this. And everyone would just be like, cool, we had a good party. We had a bunch of free drinks and food. Had an interesting weekend. See you later.
Yeah.
She's like, I wish you were drunk. And then Genevieve O'Reilly is doing like magnificent acting in this too, because like you see like how like that kind of like washes over her.
Yeah.
She kind of tries to compound like the crying she starts to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of like resets herself, puts in her braids and her veil, and then she's like, nope, I'm supposed to be in front of you. And then proceeds with the ceremony there. I thought, and then she just gets friggin' drunk.
The relationship between mother and daughter is so unexpected. I just never would have expected this in a million years. It's so novel.
Yeah.
It's so rich. It's so nuanced. I've already said it in this episode. It's just everything in the show is just so compelling to watch. It is so thrilling. It is so thrilling to just be so blown away by acting choices and decisions that are being made creatively. And then exactly what you said, just to watch Mon Mothma get blotto drunk and just cut loose because I
was going to say, so with the other reason she's getting blitzed out of her mind there is because she also knows that her friend from childhood is about to get by Luthen Echo.
Yeah.
Also, aka Miss Belinda from Doctor Who is about to.
Yes.
Which I saw in another post that someone said.
Oh, is she going to get killed?
Or no, I'm assuming she's going to.
Oh, she's going to get killed by Cinder. Okay.
No. Yeah, that she.
Take
No,
Homa
yeah,
is going to
Take
get
Homa.
killed by Cinta.
Yeah, the other post I saw was imagine going back to the premiere of Return of the Jedi, telling someone that in 40 years Disney would make a Star Wars TV show where this character, picture Mon Mothma in Return of the Jedi, gets litty and dances to trap music at a wedding rave. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I remember that being one of people's favorite shots in the trailer too for this season. Or just like is just randomly Mon Mothma like just letting it rip.
It's great. It's a very human moment.
Yeah. She's like, well,
yeah.
Fuck. Might as well.
Yes. Yeah. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So then from there too, we get what planet is it again, Kenny? It's
Yavin 4. Oh.
Yavin 3?
No, it's 4.
Yavin 2.
No, it's 4. No, gosh dang.
Okay, so we get the Yavin 4 reveal. The jungle planet is Yavin 4. You see like the pyramids off there in the shot as Cassian escapes in the TIE Avenger that we know is called TIE Avenger Jack Terrier. And then
which is also freaking great because it's not like we linger on some shot of X-Wings getting built or like a specific temple getting built. If you know, you know. If you don't, you're like, this looks familiar, maybe.
Yeah. And the shot is also kind of a mirror of one of the shots from where we see the X-Wings like lift up there and take off in front of the pyramids. So it's cool to kind of, get the same thing but with like a TIE fighter.
Yes. And also it's like thematic resonance because it's going, look at how much further we have to go in order for this rebellion to cohere.
Yeah. And also that random like beast that's like
oh my god
too.
So shocking.
Yeah, like that was a genuine jump scare. I was like, oh, what the hell was that?
Truly. It's great. I loved that.
Because we were trying to figure out because there's just a boot with the leg still in the boot that we saw earlier, and they're trying to wonder like what happened to these people, and it wasn't like the reason some of them were like turning on each other was apparently because obviously because they're so distrustful of one another, but this beast was like taking them out. Neither subgroup of that main group knew that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
So they're blaming it on the other group of them. But yeah. And then
meanwhile this big beast.
Yeah. But yeah, so then like from there Cassian makes it back to Mina Rao, saves his friends outside of Brasso. Gets killed there.
Where you think that he shot Brasso in cold blood because Brasso looks
I didn't think
good.
that he shot him in cold blood.
I think that Brasso looks too good in those overalls, and so Cassian was like, I have to kill him.
Possibly. Who's to say?
Because Brasso looks hot.
I feel like if Brasso shows back up, that Steve Martin should play him.
I agree. Yeah.
Because like he already played a Brasso. Only Murders in the Jedi Temple.
I have not watched that show.
Oh man. Only Murders in the Jedi Temple now on Disney Plus. That's where Jedi Steve Martin, solves crimes with Jedi Selena Gomez and Jedi Martin Short. And they do a Jedi podcast. Like this.
When you post Holdo Maneuvers.
There you go. But yeah, and then the episode ends on like that very downer note of Brasso and another casualty of the rebellion, basically.
And one of the reasons, because I was thrown at the beginning of episode 1 of season 2, and I was like, man, this is goofy. This is funny. Why is this so broad? Outside of Cassian, like the brilliant beat at the very beginning of the episode where he's talking with like I guess the imperial person who has kind of betrayed the empire and has set Cassian to steal the TIE Avenger, but all the shenanigans and all the hijinks. And I'm like, in the newsreel, I'm like, why is this so broad? And by the end of episode 3, I'm like, oh, because this stuff is bleak as hell. That's why. Because we needed some levity, because it's Andor and it's going to get dark, because we're going to be exploring some increasingly dark territory. So why not just have a breath between seasons before we get back into it?
It's true.
Yeah, because it is also so funny rewatching season 1 and right after the prison break on Narkina 5 is
There's only one way out.
Only one way out. Is this Star Warsy shenanigan that I completely forgot existed, where Andor and Melshi happen to bond with Star Wars Gugas with a quad jumper, and they put them in some webs and stuff. And I'm like, man, this really feels like some Star Wars stuff. And meanwhile, like the previous 3 episodes have been talking about like prison reform and how prison labor is actually the new means of industrial production and the forms of capitalism and all of these different things. And then every once in a while, it'll just be like, Tony Gilroy will be like, it's still Star Wars too, which is wild. It's a miracle. Like, we are so blessed to be able to have this. It's easy to use hyperbole with art. And also, as I get older, I find using such hyperbolic language less and less, because I find the idiosyncratic art such as this, on this scale, becoming less and less and less, because folks seem to be taking less and less risks, and understandably so. Priorities change, especially in the current landscape. So whenever you get something as radical as hell as this, which is advocating not just for revolution, but the only way to seize the only way to seize power is by means of violent revolution. Yo. And then you're doing that while also selling your toys at the same time. Well, this is an Andor toy. That's just my Outrider.
Oh, but I did send you and Mike earlier today an Andor Funko photo. Which I don't think I even knew that they had made Andor Funkos, but there's the Marva.
Excellent.
Marva hologram on B2EMO. So that's a 2-for-1 Funko. You get B2EMO and Marva. And then you can make this Marva actually say, instead of fight the Empire, you can have her say fuck the Empire.
Thank goodness.
Which I want that cut of season 1 finale.
You do in the behind the scenes, you do hear her say fuck the Empire.
Yeah.
But it silences out the F part, so you almost get it, but you like it's so close.
And I think it's close to the Galaxy Quest thing too, with Sigourney Weaver saying, instead of like, well, fuck that, where it's like you can see her mouth still clearly saying the word, but
yeah, Galaxy Quest, what a great movie.
Sigourney Weaver, also now in Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope that movie's good. That'd be great if that was good.
Yeah.
I like it whenever things are good.
The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah. That'd be great. That'd be great if it was good. The Razor Crest is back.
Somehow the Razor Crest returned.
I didn't watch all of season 3.
It wasn't in season, like he only had that Naboo starfighter that he's had. So yeah, all I'll say is that
I didn't see how he got
somehow
that
the Razor Crest returned.
Oh boy. Whew. So far behind on current day Star Wars.
Yeah.
At least the Mando verse stuff.
What would you like to see? So next week will be a year ahead after the events of these 3 episodes. What would you like to see in the arc next week?
More meetings, more bureaucratic meetings. I love, as my Star Trek The Next Generation collection will tell you, I love it when my science fiction has bureaucratic meetings. So I want Imperials and Rebels, especially more Rebels, having bureaucratic meetings. I want Luthen to be agitated around a table planning the rebellion. I want it to be going, Cassian Andor, will you reallocate these resources in order to make sure that we can fund the rebellion?
I mean, it's also too bad that Luthen never met Padme, because I'm sure they could have done some scientific research together.
Oh. The Tesseract is more than knowledge.
Yeah.
It's truth.
It's true. Also, I mean, Luthen could have shown up in Skeleton Crew. He's been a pirate before.
It's pronounced Skeleton Crew.
Yeah. Although that would be a bootstrap paradox if he did that.
That's right. He's in
Bootstrap.
two Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
That's right. That's right.
What else do I want to see? I trust Tony Gilroy.
Yeah. Do you think K2SO shows up next week?
Yeah. But I have no idea. I truly have no idea. Outside of something's going to happen in Gorman, because I saw Star Wars Internet being like, oh, shoot, the Gorman incident. And I was like, okay. Because I guess I'm a casual Star Wars fan in that regard.
Somehow the Gormans returned.
Somehow the Gorman returned. I guess the Gorman incident is a big thing in Star Wars lore.
Yeah. Also, the Gorman Project is going to be our new band that Kenny and I are starting.
I'm excited. I can play clarinet, which is good.
Yeah. I play the practice drum pad.
Other than that, like I just want to be like surprised, and I want to be surprised by acting. I want to be surprised by creative direction. I want to be surprised by. I just want to be surprised by art. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you expecting?
Just this show's always been amazing, so I'm just expecting it to be good again. Yeah. And I like this idea this season with like each set of 3 episodes being another year, getting us closer and closer to the events of Rogue One.
Yeah.
So that also kind of has to make each of those 3 episodes have more weight to it, because that 3-episode arc is encompassing, not necessarily taking place over the course of a year, but it's encompassing the most important part of that year.
Yeah.
And then we jump ahead to how those events have then, materialized, evolved over that year. And I think that'll be interesting storytelling wise, and how they'll do that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They've set themselves up for a real challenge, but with these first 3 episodes, I mean, I'm pleased as punch. I was a little bit scared at the first episode, but I think they pulled it off. And I'm just,
And so, and then if people want to find you online, Kenny, where should they look?
You can follow me on Blue Sky at the Kenny Madison. You can also listen to Trek Wars Pod. We are currently on hiatus because we are both extremely tired people. Trek Wars Pod, as we said earlier in the podcast, is the one podcast that dares to answer the most important question of fandom: which is better, Star Trek or Star Wars? By going through both franchises in chronological release order. We have covered the 6 Skywalker saga films at length, as well as up through the first 2 seasons of Clone Wars, as well as the entirety of Droids and Ewoks, the 2 animated Genndy Tartakovsky animated stuff, and then the entirety of the original series of Star Trek. So check that out, trekwarspod.com. Yes.
Can't recommend it enough to people that haven't checked it out yet.
Thank you so much. We've had Mark on several times, I believe.
Yeah, Mike and I did the Battle of Endor and the Amok.
Amok Time. What a winner.
Yeah, Amok Time. Yeah, so we got a classic Trek episode for us. And then I think I'm set to eventually come back once your guys' hiatus is over, when you get to the Mortis trilogy, because I requested to talk about the Mortis trilogy because it's one of my favorite things from the Clone Wars animated series.
I'm excited.
It seems like it's going to continue to be relevant for Ahsoka season 2. So, with Holdo Maneuver, so for people watching, this will be the last time you see this quote unquote set behind me because I'm going to be moving. So the next time you see me on this, it'll look different behind me. So for Andor this season, that may be interesting for like how we're going to be covering. We're going to continue to do the live shows each week for it. But so next week and then the following week, you might not see me, but Mike should be here with or without a guest possibly. I'm not. Who's to say? We'll find out.
You are to say. You're the co-host.
Yeah, we'll find out. Those will be the first 2 episodes that I won't have been on in the 80. This is episode 82. Those will be the first 2 out of the 82 preceding episodes before them that may not have me on them just because of me moving and whatnot. But we want to still talk about Andor, so those will be next week, probably on Friday again for each of those weeks. So that means one of them, I think, will be on May the 3rd, so just shy of May the 4th. We celebrate Orthodox Star Wars Day anyways, which is May 25th, not consumer Star Wars Day, aka wordplay Star Wars Day. But I'll definitely be back for the finale set of episodes, which will be, I think that's like May 13th or so, is when the last arc of episodes. Kenny may or not be back because, like he said, he's very busy, he's very tired, so I'm not going to commit him to anything. But if he wants to, he's always invited.
That's extremely kind.
Yeah, Aspen's always invited too. And if people haven't listened to Trek Wars Pod, that's Kenny's better half on TrekWarsPod.com.
Yep.
Aspen is awesome.
Aspen's the best. Freaking love him.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And then for us, we're at holdomaneuver.com, or if you can't spell maneuver like Mike, we're also at holdopod.com, and then holdopod is our handle on all of the socials. We're on Blue Sky and Instagram at holdopod. So yeah. But again, so since Mike isn't here this week, you get to do it again like you did for Skeleton Crew, Kenny. So as always, we're grateful to George Lucas for creating the Star Wars universe.
Live long and prosper.
That's right. Right. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Thank the maker.
Bye. Fuck the Empire.
Fight the Empire.